Welcome back. The time is 16 minutes past 7. Now, five-time All-Ireland hurling champion D.J Carey is set to receive his sentence today after he pleaded guilty to conning people out of nearly €400,000 by pretending that he had cancer.
Here to give us the latest updates, our correspondent Frank Graney and the 42.IE's Gavin Cooney. Good morning to you both.
Guys.
Great to have you with us. Frank, so listen, DJ Carey's, the sentence hearing was on Friday. We expected to hear a result at the time, but that has been pushed until today. Can you tell us why?
I suppose the judge has an awful lot to consider, and Judge Martin Owen decided to take the weekend to, I suppose, go through the facts of the case. There were 22 victims in all of this. He pleaded guilty to 10 charges of deception. They involved 13 victims, 10 other charges taken into account. And what happened on Friday was the court was told for the first time the details in relation to each of those. So it took quite some time, a couple of hours of the court's time. After that, you had pleas in mitigation. Then his barrister got up, made representations on behalf of DJ Carey. There were also victim impact statements presented to the court. So there's a lot for Judge Martin Owen to take into account, and he decided to put things back until this afternoon to kind of, I suppose, mull things over.
What can you tell us about the details that emerged?
We could be here all day. I mean, it was truly remarkable. I mean, the one thing I will say is that the MO throughout each of his scams was almost identical. He was telling people that he had a rare type of cancer. He was telling them that he needed money for treatment, specialist treatment in the US. And I mean, it wasn't the most sophisticated scam that I've seen down in the courts. I mean, it was just based on that essential lie. But I suppose the clever thing about it from DJ's point of view was how he targeted people and the people that he targeted. He went for people that had money to lend, for starters, and he also played on their emotions. He played on their generosity. He took advantage of his reputation as a hurler. He targeted fans, family, friends, acquaintances, business contacts. Dennis O'Brien was, undoubtedly the most high-profile victim in all of this. He took over €135,000 all in off Dennis O'Brien. He was completely duped by it. In his victim impact statement, he said he was embarrassed by the fact that he was completely duped by a man that he considered to be his friend.
And that is it, the victim impact statements. Although you mentioned only two, kind of shows that a lot of people didn't want to say what actually they'd gone through because of their, I suppose, admiration in a way for DJ Carey and his hurling status.
Yeah, I suppose we don't know for sure why some of the victims chose not to prepare victim impact statements. In any case, a victim isn't obliged to do so. There were two delivered in the court on Friday. One read out on behalf of Dennis O'Brien, who described a friendship that he had with DJ Carey. He said that DJ had taken advantage of that friendship. And he said something that I suppose is a recurring theme for all of the victims. They're all asking themselves, like, how was I tricked into this? At the end of the day, as Dennis O'Brien said in his victim impact statement, when somebody comes and tells you that they're seriously ill with cancer, you don't question their bona fides. There was another man, a big fan of Kilkenny hurling, a big fan of DJ Carey, Thomas Butler, another victim who gave him 16.5 grand out of a lump sum that he got for his pension. He had worked hard his whole life, gets a lump sum in his pension, and he hands €16,600 of that over to DJ Carey. When DJ Carey first told him that he had cancer and that he needed money for treatment, Thomas Butler emptied whatever was in his pockets and he gave it to him there and then. He idolised the man. He knew him. He played golf with DJ Carey. He had no reason to doubt him. And he also said, there isn't a family in this country that hasn't been touched by cancer. And that's the really tragic thing about, I suppose, his MO and the lie that he spun. And Thomas Butler touched on that. He said that he had lost both of his parents to cancer. So he found it gut-wrenching that DJ Carey was using that as an excuse. Another case, and I won't name the victims in this scenario because they didn't deliver victim impact statements. I don't know if they want their names to be out there in the public. But I thought that this went to the heart of DJ Carey's offending, whereby he bumped into a friend at a hurling match in Kilkenny, a chance meeting between the two. This friend confided in him that his wife had a very rare type of cancer. And DJ Carey pounced on that opportunity. He replied by saying, "You're not going to believe it, but I have the very same type of cancer." And he managed to hit that man up a couple of days later for €4,000 to supposedly pay for fees at this specialist treatment centre in the US that we all know now is bogus.
Just need to take that in for a second, because that man's wife also had that cancer. Okay. Gavin, oh wow. The one thing that we're hearing from Frank is people don't want to give victim impact statements against a man that they absolutely adored. Anytime you turn on Really in the Ears, there's DJ Carey for a huge swath of them in the 90s and noughties. tell us about DJ, because he was held in such high esteem, not just in Kilkenny, but around the country.
Yeah, so you can talk about a sports person's achievements in the usual means by listing off what they achieved. And DJ Carey, 5 All-Ireland titles, 9 All-Stars, twice Hurler of the Year. But his fame and status and reputation transcended that. He was, in the words of Dennis Walsh, who wrote a superb book, Hurling the Revolution Years, hurling's first superstar. Brian Cody, when DJ Carey retired, called him an idol, and Brian Cody is not one to throw around praise willy-nilly. He was like the measure of all true sporting superstars in Ireland, known across the country by his first name, which also means like it can trick you into thinking that you know this person, and obviously that is at the root of this story. And there's a bitter kind of irony looking back at his career now, because for all he achieved on the hurling field, so much of what we knew about him at the time was refracted through money. Like he was one of the early pioneers of the GPA, making a very reasonable case, that has to be said, for players having the right to be paid for endorsement deals and media appearances. But again, I looking back at that interview he did with Dennis Walsh in that great book, there were rumours after he retired, and he talked about getting rumour mongers and gossipers getting in on him, was his phrase. And then he deduced that it was kind of a jealousy thing. And then within that is the deathless quote that money is at the root of most things. It's nearly 25 years since that book was published. That's bitterly true.
Wow.
Of course, so DJ Carey, a hero an idol in the game, but the game is an amateur game. He, of course, had to set up his own businesses. He was involved he had properties, businesses that went bust, but he then talked about falling on hard times and was desperate. He'd no job, was sleeping in a car, and has asked the judge to take that into account, Frank.
Yeah, I suppose one of the aspects of his plea in mitigation was his stunning fall from grace, and the judge was told how this was a man who had a very good reputation up until this point, but that the name DJ Carey will forevermore be attached with notoriety and shame. He spoke about, and when DJ Carey when the guards first came knocking, and this was on the back of an alert that was raised by a bank worker who became suspicious when an elderly customer of theirs was trying to send a significant sum of money to DJ Carey. The guards were alerted, they investigated, they unravelled this whole scam. They deserve huge credit for the work they did in relation to that. When they went knocking on DJ Carey's door, he was staying in a hotel at the time, and he did make substantial admissions. He was cooperative. When he was asked why he did what he did, he said that he was in great financial difficulties, that he had fallen into somewhat of a rut. That was all outlined to the judge, I suppose, the motives behind what he did. The fact that he has no previous convictions, the fact that he pleaded guilty, albeit at a late stage, he pleaded guilty to those charges on the day that the jury was due to be sworn in, but he will be given some sort of a discount in relation to that. And the judge was really pressed, and on behalf of DJ Carey, Coleman Cody, his barrister, was really trying to press the point that this is a man who is remorseful now, who is genuinely sorry. He has offered heartfelt apologies to his victims. He had fallen on hard times. That was, I suppose, the defence that his barristers were putting forward on Friday.
So the sentencing expected at some stage today, with the judge indicating there would be some form of custodial sentence.
Yeah, DJ Carey was taken into custody for the first time on Friday. He spent the weekend behind bars, and he'll have to get used to that, because we don't know for sure at this point. We'll find out later today how long he'll have to spend in prison, but the judge left him in no doubt that he will be getting a custodial sentence. He said it was inevitable.
There you have it. Right, OK, well, I'm sure we'll find that out later on. Frank Graney, court correspondent, thanks so much for joining us.